Clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Anderson?
Here.
Bucci?
Here.
Christensen?
Here.
Condon?
Here.
DePietro?
Here.
Fallon? Kinnon?
Here.
Murphy? Nestor?
Here.
Spatafora? Lucy?
Here. First order of business. Jeff? Okay, we've at the request of the council, Jeff Manship, Director of Public Works, is here to discuss the city snow plan and pay-as-you-throw. Mr. Manship, if you'd want to come up to the podium with anyone else, or they can just wait for questions. Thank you, Mr. Manship, for coming.
I believe I'll start with the department. I'm going on my 19th year as the Winter Storm Director for the Department of Public Works. And over the last couple of years, the department has encountered some concerns that may impact the Public Works winter activities going on. The first concern is Mother Nature herself. She's given us snow from October to April, 1 inch to 27 inches, and just for fun, she adds ice, sleet, and freezing rain to the mix. Because of this wide variety of moisture, we prepare for the worst. We build a sanding and plowing operation for her uncertainties in our operation. Our second concern is labor. In 1994, the department had 4 supervisors, 5 administrative clerks, 50 employees, 30 from highway, 12 from water, and 8 from parks and forestry. In fiscal year 2007, we had 5 supervisors, 1.5 administrative clerks, 38 employees, 30 from highway, 8 from parks and forestry, and this is right after water department was removed from the Department of Public Works and its labor and equipment was relocated to the engineering department, which meant that the Department of Public Works had not the ability to use those employees on a regular basis. And the administrative assistant in the Department of Public Works now shares her time half Public Works and half water abatements. In fiscal year 2012, administration has 4 supervisors, 1.5 clerks, 31 employees, 23 from highway, and 8 from parks and forestry. In the last 5 fiscal years, the department has lost 7 positions. This basically means the rumor that the Department of Public Works has 100 employees is incorrect. We have 23 in highway, 8 in parks, 31 all in total. The third concern that we have is our winter equipment. We have 11 sanders, years 21 years old to 7. That's down from 14 sanders. We have 12 additional plow trucks, years 11 years old to 5. We have 4 sidewalk plows, Bombardiers, 2006 and 2008s. We also have 1 brand new backhoe and 2 older loaders. With this aging fleet, the city should look into a 5-year replacement program so the department can upgrade its winter equipment so we can do a better job. With these 3 concerns, all I can tell you is the Department of Public Works and my fine employees will continue to do the best job they possibly can during what snowstorms Mother Nature will decide to give us. As for topics of discussion, basically broke it down into 3 categories: public, residents, the beginning of the storm, and the operations itself, sanding and plowing. The public, the residents, they have to be notified about the emergency calls, snow emergencies, kids in schools, when they're going to get out. We have to be able to use code red more often, news, make the calls early enough so we can have notification for the people to get home properly. We have to be able to enforce our parking regulations. We cannot do a good job out there if cars are illegally parked within 20 feet of the curb. People are not using the driveways, which is an ordinance in this city. We must inform the residents of the worst. With every snowstorm, there is a possibility of a flooding process, more snow, power outages. We have to make them and keep them informed of what's going on with this operation. Cleanup, it's a constant problem at the end of the snowstorm. We have an ordinance that we push back snow to widen the streets. We have to get the school parking lots open again for school. We have to open up the streets and open up the streets that we weren't able to plow. The storm itself, when we know we're having a storm, the weather conditions, we usually have an emergency meeting, and that will be in the mayor's office. We'll have police, fire, school department, emergency management, public facilities, public works, the mayor or his designee. We'll bring all the information to the table from the storm activity itself, from our weather service that we have, to any other information that people may bring in regards to school, half a day, weekends. We'll discuss the storm, what it's going to bring to the city of Malden. At that point, we'll make a decision on how we're going to operate the storm. When we're going to call a snow emergency, get it in faster, sooner, so people can get home, remove their cars from the sidewalks, from the streets. We'll determine our sanding operation start time. This is very critical because we want to make sure that we get all our streets, all 733 of them, sanded so we can stop that bonding process between the cold asphalt and the moisture coming down. Towing. We want to make sure that the residents have ample time to move their vehicles before we tow them. It doesn't work well for us to be able to try to get down the street and there's cars on both sides of the street and we can't get a 7-foot plow down the street. We don't plow the street. We want to make sure that our operation center is open, which is down at the Department of Public Works. We'll have a police officer standing by. We'll start manning the phones for all the complaints. And that will start the beginning of our operation. Our sanding and plowing operations. We basically use what I like to call a triangle-based method system. It's something that we have devised down there between the supervisors and myself, where we all can cover each other's jobs during a sanding and snow operation. And basically, with my supervisors that I have tonight, one's missing, we all have certain responsibilities within the storm, sanding and plowing. Mr. Robert Knox, our highway supervisor, he maintains the street activities for routes 1 through 8 or wards 1 through 8. 1 through 4, we break it to another tier, where that second tier is the two other supervisors, Mr. Ron Zanazzo and John DeSantis, will each carry 4 wards or routes. 1 through 4 is John DeSantis, 5 through 8 is Ron Zanazzo, and they'll maintain the actual continued plowing of that operation, resolve any concerns that they may see, making sure that the contractors are pushing the snow properly away from cars, making sure that they do their first pass, opening up the streets properly. When we go sanding, we use this same method to be able to, all of us be able to communicate with each other, do each other's jobs as it's necessary so we don't miss a beat in regards to the management of the storm. We have 27 sanding routes. We put out 29 sanders, including our own 11, if they go out. Again, in the sanding routes, 1 through 4 is John DeSantis, 5 through 8 is Ron Zanazzo. We'll go out and sand, and we want to get to the streets as quickly as possible. We use a combination of salt and calcium. And the reason why is calcium is a catalyst. It starts salt working faster, and it will stay longer on the street, which gives us a longer period of time before we have to go plowing, if we have to go plowing. When we do go plowing, we have 41 routes with approximately 75 contractors and city vehicles. That number will increase or decrease depending on the storm itself. Again, we get in the city of Malden a wide variety of moisture. And with this moisture is how we prepare and work the snowstorm. Our average is 75 trucks going out to plow. As we're sanding, though, we are scraping. By doing that, and depends on how much accumulation we're going to get, we might not have to plow, because we are scraping, sanding with calcium and salt at the same time, and if the accumulation goes down, that may be all we have to do. Sidewalks. Well, before we get to sidewalks, people will call and say the plow went down the middle of the street. That is correct. We want to open up the street for emergency vehicles first. They'll make a pass, they'll go through every one of their assigned streets first, they'll open it up, they'll get traffic moving. Then they'll repeat this process time and time again to get curb to curb. So if somebody calls and says he just went down the middle of the street, that is correct. He is opening up the street for emergency vehicles. We have 733 streets in the city of Malden that we maintain. 271 of them are unaccepted. Under Chapter Mass General Laws 8425, with the council's approval, we maintain those streets too. That's an added burden because 90% of them are courts and terraces. They have no parking. Their parking is a problem for us to be able to get into these streets, to be able to plow properly. Sidewalks. This is a decision that will be made during a snow operation. We have 4 bombardiers. If we decide to put them out during the plowing operation, because that will be the right time, we also have to take 4 drivers from our plowing operation and put them in bombardiers, which means 4 less of our in-house vehicles will be working, 4 more contractors will be coming into work. If we decide to do it after the storm, because it might be light and fluffy, less accumulation, again, it will be a decision that will be made during the operation. We have routes for all 4 bombardiers. They are all city-owned sidewalks with city-owned property in front of them, in back of them, I should say. All sidewalks go into schools, to and fro, on both sides, and we'll continue this even after the snowstorm for days afterwards. Compliance. One of many of the smaller issues that happen within the snowstorm is people throwing snow back into the street, contractors pushing snow back into the street, and compliance is a big help to us if we can get them out there to ticket these individuals. I know they were limited for time last year, but their presence out in the street is valuable to us. The finishing of the storm. Basically, during this snowstorm, we are constantly in contact with each other and the mayor's office, making decisions on what we're going to have to do presently as the storm progresses. We will decide when we're going to shut down. We will stay with the snowstorm until it finishes. It could be 6 hours, it could be 30 hours. Depends on how long and how much accumulation we're going to get. When finishing the storm, we'll back down. We'll have a set time for contractors to go home, take them off the clock. We'll set up a skeleton crew if that is what is needed. To get through the night, we'll set up an early morning crew to sand parking lots. We'll work with the schools and talk to public facilities in regards to what they need for contractors to be able to open schools the very next day. That is our goal, to make sure that we can get school open the next day. Whatever public facilities needs in regards to our equipment, we give them. Again, comes out of the contractors or city equipment that we have plowing. We will take them off routes and we'll move them to the schools to get a jump start on clearing the schools for school the next day. The next day cleanup, again, I mentioned pushback. We have an ordinance where we push back these snow piles to widen the streets to get ready for the next snowstorm. We'll clean up corners. We'll continue on with our sidewalk plowing operation. And any other concerns that we may have missed the street or an abundance of snow got pushed into a location, we'll remove it. As for Pleasant Street and squares, we only remove snow in that area or those areas at the call of the mayor. That is not built into the program because that is a call from the mayor, always has been, and I believe it always will be. If the mayor wants to spend the extra time and money to clean the squares, it will be his call down to me to do so. We'll put a plan together and resolve and do the cleanups. That will be his call. Readiness for the next storm, basically is fixing all our equipment that got damaged, replenishing our salt and calcium, getting the guys some sleep because they just worked a very hard night, getting ready, doing all our documentation, like the controller knows how much money we just spent, and wait and see what Mother Nature gives us again. Basically, our plan is very, very flexible, and it has to be, only because we don't know what Mother Nature is going to give us in regards to accumulation, what time of day, what type of moisture. So we base for a worse storm, which we consider 12 inches. And I believe we all still remember April 1st, 1997. That is a quick overview. I could stay up here all night long talking about snow. It's something I love to do.
Thank you, Director. Let me open it up to some questions. Councilor Anderson.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Jeff, you've been through this year after year, and I hear you saying that you never know what Mother Nature is going to be throwing at us, so we're going to call upon your vast years of experience. But tell me the three things that you're going to do differently this year. You know, when you look back over the years, what are the things that the three things that we could be improving on for this year?
One is obviously time. We have to shorten the time of getting our manpower in, our contractors in. The faster we can get out sanding, the quicker we can get out plowing, the quicker we can get ahead of the storm. You never do get ahead of the storm, but if you can gear for that, then your operation goes a lot smoother. A better watch on our equipment. It's aging. Our streets are not very giving to our equipment with our raised manholes and our older equipment. Baby them a little bit, take care of them, and definitely make sure our labor is comfortable. They work very hard. They maintain a high degree of respect for what they do, and they deserve all the praise they can get.
Well, certainly your crew of not only supervisors but workers have been very responsive to calls that I've made to the DPW in terms of getting the streets and sidewalks and courtways taken care of. So kudos to you guys, and I know what a difficult job it is that you guys do. You mentioned that there's a term that I guess I don't understand. You said that when you sand, there are some apparently light snowstorms where you can sand and scrape versus plow. I don't understand what scraping is versus plowing.
Scraping basically is a term that all our sanders, when we go out with our 29, if we're doing a full sanding operation, every sander has a plow on it.
Okay.
Plow is down, scraping, throwing salt
sanding in the
and
back.
calcium in the rear. And the reason why we do that is by not having that additional moisture in the front, and the sand and calcium, the salt and calcium hitting a pretty much bare, cold pavement, it works faster. Gives us a longer period of, a bigger window between plowing and sanding, or sanding and plowing. And again, depends on what happens with the storm, because we have had immobilized in the past for storms that going to give us 6 to 8 inches, and we got an inch.
So I guess I'm just trying to understand the difference in the term. The blade will be down.
Right.
The calcium chloride will be dropping from the rear.
With the salt, yes.
And you're calling that, when you do those two things together, you're calling that scraping and sanding?
That's correct.
As opposed to sanding and plowing?
That's correct.
Okay, keep up the good work, and we look forward to seeing what Mother Nature's going to do for us. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson. Councilor Bucci.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you again, Jeff, for coming before us. It's, I think, our annual perennial discussion around management of the season coming up. Just want to kind of go back to a couple of your comments. In terms of updating the public when things are going, as fast as they certainly occur, how quickly do we try to give them updates from one particular day to another? Do you use all the vehicles, newspapers, website updates, digital board, for instance, at the high school? I know you mentioned the reverse 911 call. Do you have a map of, or a plan in terms of communication?
I do not, but that's why we have a snow emergency meeting in the mayor's office, so that will get delegated to some individuals that are there between emergency management, the mayor's office, Board of Health, public facilities, to be able to designate, we're going to make a code red call at 2:00 p.m. stating that there's going to be a snow emergency at 5. These will be discussions that will be made in the mayor's office at that time. We'll use the news broadcast, obviously, to get it on there as quickly as possible. Talking with the school department in regards to if we should call school or not, get that bulletin out there.
Okay.
In whatever other means we can use. Back in the early 90s, we even used the police department with bullhorns to say, please remove your car. It's impeding the operation.
Okay.
But we rely on other departments to help in regards to getting that message out.
Okay. So it's safe for the public who may be listening tonight to know that there is this meeting that gets held here in the mayor's office, and from that, the information will be determined what will be released as an update to the public, and clearly, my assumption is they'll see that on the website or some other venue of some type of media release.
Yes,
Okay.
Whatever way we can communicate, we should.
Okay, because I mean, I think it's like that, I'm just trying to sit here as a resident in terms of wanting to know what the latest and greatest information may be, depending on the type of storm it is. I think whatever vehicle of communication we use, and the more that we use it, the better, people are informed, seem to not have as much anxiousness around it. In terms of where folks can call, you mentioned earlier a call center, operations center, the constituent service piece of that. The calls that come in, related to everyone in their own, having their own issue with the storm, do you log those calls in? Who mans the call?
We do log them. It depends on when the storm is in the city of Malden. If it's during regular hours, the 1.5 administrative clerks will be making those phone calls. I will be doing them. Bob and Ron will be doing them if they're taking some time in the office. We'll log when they come in, what ward they're in or route. We'll send them out to whatever supervisor routes they're in to resolve those issues. We get calls from the mayor's office, obviously, because people decide to call there instead. We get calls from the counselors, and you can call each supervisor if you 1 through 4, John DeSantis, or 5 through 8, Ron Znazel, or Bobby or myself.
Okay.
And you can text message us, but with these older type texting machines that we have, it's be a long time before we text you back.
Yeah.
You can call us, we will resolve the issues. But basically I'd say most of the calls come into the 160, 162 number in this Department of Public Works.
Okay. And my last inquiry is around damages. I actually dealt with a couple families who had some damage done to their property during the snowstorm, and some of that is still an ongoing conversation, believe it or not, even since our last storm. But what is your best suggestion or advice to the resident who can identify that a fence went down at the issue that a plow, whether it be our city plow or whether it be a contractor, that I assume we obviously have, those folks have insurance, but I'd like to know, what is your advice as the department director for folks? How should they handle that?
If their personal property get damaged by either our city vehicle or a contractor, first of all, our city vehicles are blue and yellow, very noticeable. Definitely get the type of truck, the color, license plate. Our contractors, they all carry $1 million certificate of liability for the city of Malden. They also have a red and white placket card that we give them that goes on the side of their truck. Get the number, each one is numbered. It says City of Malden. And if you can get their license plate, definitely do so. And what will happen is the process will be that it will be investigated through whatever source it comes back to us, either through the council or city solicitor's office. And obviously, our report will go back to them. If it was our vehicle that did the damage, obviously, we will explain what happened and why. But the more information they can get in regards to what happened, when, time, and the vehicle itself is very important to us. We have a lot of people say 3 days afterwards, sometimes come springtime, your vehicle damaged my vehicle, and that's all they give us. So it's not that we don't want to own up to our responsibility, but if you can't give us more information, then it was your vehicle, I know so. I heard a bump. There's about 200 contractors in the city of Malden, if not more, that do not work for the city of Malden that are driving our streets also. They could also be doing damage, but get as much information as you possibly can. Send it to the city clerk's office, city solicitor's office. We'll respond back with our investigation of what happened. We have told all our drivers and our contractors, if you hit something, there's no shame in telling us. It's a tough job out there in the middle of a snowstorm when you can barely see in front of you. We don't obviously want you to hit the vehicles or a fence or anything else, but please tell us so we can expedite the process or the problem.
Okay, and I too want to echo my fellow colleague, Councilor Anderson. I've been around doing this kind of work with you folks for 4 years, and I do applaud the effort, because again, it's incredible hard work, people demanding, you're battling Mother Nature, as you refer to it. I think when those moments are happening, it's really a lot of anxiousness by the residents,